thing, you see. There's a little bit of Victorian bedding. There's
Yep.
experimental bedding out of exotic stuff. There's quite a lot of theatrical stuff where you're using pots. The plants are still in their pots, but you're arranging it so that they look like they're growing, especially in the summer. And there's a bit of prairie planting. There's a fantastic collection of trees, amazing trees, absolutely all sorts. You know, English herbaceous planting, a bit of modern herbaceous, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's great. They do a lot of conservation work. They raise money and awareness for conservation. They have lots of links, direct links with, you know, conservation organisations in Madagascar and Africa and all sorts of places. That's one of my earliest memories. I probably must have been about 2 years old. And I remember going to the garden and they told me to shout, "Hello, Robert." So you stand in the garden, you look up and you shout, "Hello, Robert." And then there's a little voice from way up in the trees going, "Hello, Robert." And it was a blue and gold macaw called Robert.
A pet parrot, presumably, who lived in the trees.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was allowed out in the daytime and then he would come in and rip the furniture to shreds, you know. If you've got an exposed site, you really need to go for the biggest containers you possibly can because they dry out so much less quickly than tiny pots are really hard to keep alive, especially if you know, if you go away for a bit. You can't expect your neighbours to keep tiny pots.
No.
I do not water every day, even in very, very hot weather, because I reckon if you have to water every day, you've got the wrong plant in the wrong place and probably in the wrong pot. It's not in a big enough pot because it needs that volume of pot as a reservoir of water to draw up when it needs it.
Of course.
I squashed as much information as I possibly could in, and I didn't want to write a book that was just a series of recipes. I wanted to talk about the practicalities of gardening in pots.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people start with gardening in pots because it looks easier. And it's quite a good way to start because you're not overfaced by a huge garden. You've just got some containers. But when things go wrong, they go wrong really quickly. And if you're a learner, you don't necessarily know why. Then it happens again. Then you become discouraged, you know.